Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Flight Podcast. My name is Andrew Thomas.
And I'm Jacob Schenker.
Shut up and sit down.
NFL Week 7. What a week. This has probably been the best week in football that we have seen so far. For me, I think it's been the best. I don't know about you, Andrew, but I think it is. But so far, almost every single match has been crazy.
Couldn't have said it any better. I agree with you like 100%. So in this episode, we're going to dive into all the crazy things that happened this week, starting off with Davante Adams. Freaking crazy monster game. That was ridiculous.
Nuts. He's just a freak of nature. He did this in week 1, and he's doing it again. Almost 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. But it's not just him, the reason that he was doing so well. It's his guy, Aaron Rodgers, backing him up with 4 touchdowns, almost 3.
He's a bad man.
Time and time again, we're seeing his greatness, and we're seeing how he's not slowing down. His age isn't slowing him down at all. He's just getting better and better as the season progresses. Overall, for this game with the Texans, I think honestly the reason that they were doing so bad is it's just the Packers defense was just great this game. They were really able to get a good amount of stops as guys like Will Fuller weren't able to get as many yards as they normally do. He did get a touchdown, but only 35 yards. So I just think overall this game, it just shows again that the Texans do not have enough to continue on in the season.
Yeah, I think this is Davante Adams' second game with 13 plus, and he had 13 receptions, 196 yards, averaged 15.1, and he had 2 touchdowns.
Crazy.
That's a I don't even know how to put it. That's historical. Ridiculous. Not historical, just ridiculous.
Yeah. The problem with him, right, in terms of fantasy teams is obviously he's not going to keep the consistency of getting 40 plus points although he has gotten it twice this year already, which is just insane. The problem with him is injuries, right? He does get injured more than other players normally do, right? He already had an injury this year going into week 2. He's back. Last week he had about 13 points, bounced back again. He's that type of player that will get you the points you need when you need it. He's obviously going to be number 1 wide receiver. I think at the end of the year, if he doesn't get injured, obviously he won't have 40 points per game, but he'll be having at least 20, 25. So he will be a top 3 wide receiver in fantasy, or possibly even in the actual game.
Yeah, he probably I think he's probably going to be a top 5 fantasy. Probably behind Alvin Kamara because of Kamara's ridiculous start to the season. Because I think Alvin Kamara had 2 40-point games as well, and also because Davante Adams had those injuries.
Mm-hmm.
But if he didn't get injured, I guarantee you he's still dropping 20 at least for those games.
Oh, 100%. He would probably be number 1 in wide receivers. Obviously, because of the injuries, he went back. But I could see him 100% beating out some of the top wide receivers right now.
Yep.
Calvin Ridley, DK Metcalf, Stephon Diggs. He would 100%
beat
Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
The problem with Amari Cooper now is
he had one bad game. Yeah,
well,
Dak out.
Dak getting injured, right? And now Andy Dalton went out after this game because he got injured. So now they're relying on their 3rd-string quarterback. So you ask yourself, as a person, me personally, I have Amari Cooper. What do I do with him? Well, first of all, don't lose hope at all, because you've got to remember, Amari Cooper is one of the number 1 options on that team. So they're going to be passing to him as much as possible. It's going to be, I could see it going back between him and Zeke. It just depends on who they're playing.
They need to start giving it to Amari Cooper because sometimes he's a beast. He can be really good. He's very helpful.
A beast.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true.
He really is.
They got to start passing it to him more.
Yeah, I think today's loss against the Redskins was just because of their defensive line. Their defensive line is just so good. It's so underrated.
It's godly. It's just ridiculous. Um,
All right, let's move on to probably the most anticipated game and probably the best game we've seen in this week, the Steelers and Titans game. What were your thoughts on that game, Andrew?
that that was an insane game. That was the game that I watched. We had it on TV. I went to my Graham's house, watched that game. That was really good, and it was crazy. Like also, both running backs had 20 carries. James Conner, Derrick Henry. James Conner had a slightly better game. Not gonna lie.
I mean, he just
Oh
got more
well,
yardage. Derrick
yeah,
Henry got that touchdown
yeah.
against one
Well,
of the
yeah,
best, honestly, probably the best defensive line in the league.
yeah, probably.
Right?
And
They're second in run defense. I mean, the passing defense is not as good as their run defense, but they're still nuts. So I think it's more Derrick Henry that had a better game, and I'm more impressed with Derrick Henry's performance rather than James Conner. Even though James Conner did do really well, I mean, he could have probably done more towards the end. But
well, yeah, but if they started utilizing him, because whenever they get to like the 1 or 2 yard line, they start using Benny Snell because he's probably more stronger, I guess. I don't even know. I don't know why, but I'm always on fantasy. Get a touchdown, James Conner, but they get to the 1 yard line and they never use him for those touchdowns. Like for the past couple games, that's been happening.
yeah, but he's still
Still
showing
beat.
out. He's still
Yeah.
showing out.
Yeah.
One player that I wanted to point out that was really ridiculous, and he's the wide receiver for the Titans, AJ Brown. He only had 6 receptions, right?
Think about that. Think about
And
that. Put that in your head.
you think about that and you think, all right, he'll probably get about 40 yards. Wrong. 153 yards. Each catch, he averaged over 25 yards and a touchdown.
25.5.
Yeah. How?
That's crazy.
The
It's just
fact that this is only his second year in the league, and he's doing this. He's doing stuff that players like Julio Jones will do, and he's doing that. If you watch the game, AJ Brown was making those big plays. He was getting the ball when Ryan Tannehill sent it deep, like deep. It was really sad that they just couldn't finish this game.
yeah. I was rooting for the Steelers. I like the Steelers. I like Ben Roethlisberger. I feel like he deserves a chance at a Super Bowl, but obviously both these teams are going to have a chance.
Yeah.
And Ryan Tannehill did have a great showing, but Ben Roethlisberger did also have 3 interceptions, but he threw 50 passes, so that it is kind of tough.
Yeah, I mean, do you think he's a top 10 quarterback?
That's really hard. That's really
Okay.
hard.
Yeah.
Possibly. He's a good leader, and he's good at. We gotta make a list on this for a future podcast. Like thinking about it, because
Yeah.
it's really hard thinking about it. Because I don't know.
It is a lot of players that when we made our quarterbacks going into this season. If you guys haven't watched it, you can go check it out. But we made a list of our top 10 quarterbacks going into the season, and it's completely different from what it was now. Completely.
That's how much the NFL it changes from that to that.
Exactly. Lamar Jackson, it went from, well, for me, I think I had him second. He's, for me now, probably fifth. I'd probably put him around fifth. I mean, there's some players. I mean, Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers. I have them better than him. One player though this week that has gone down for me, Josh Allen. He went down a lot. He did terrible today. They got so lucky they didn't lose. I mean, it was literally their kicker the whole entire game. He got the only points. I mean, that's nuts, right? I mean, but for the Steelers and Titans, it was just not a great effort towards the end. They got deep, and then it was the penalty, and then it was just a mess towards the end.
All right. Well, wrapping up that topic on Steelers Titans. Let's head on to, should people drop OBJ on fantasy? What do you think? Because I know what I want to say.
I don't think people want to drop him per se because he can. I think he's good to have on the bench at least. Okay, it's still OBJ. You can't just get rid of him like that, right? I mean, he has been getting injured a lot this season. We
Yeah.
have been seeing that. He hasn't really been performing as much as we think. I know that injury he had today was kind of weird per se. I mean, what happened was Baker Mayfield threw an interception. OBJ was the intended receiver, and OBJ ran to the guy that caught the interception, and he leapt over him and fell on the ground and fell on his ankle, and he re-aggravated something because then he went back after. But I don't think people want to drop him right now. I don't think they want to start him though. I think they just want to keep him on the bench and see what happens in the next few weeks because you never know. He could come back and he could be better than he was before, or he could just be the same meh.
That's true. Yeah, I kind of agree, but I also think that it's like it hurts because I still view OBJ as a Giant. Like it's hard to see him as a Brown.
Yeah.
But I think that people should drop him because there's good, like with the injury, there's also probably better receivers on the waiver wire. Plus, OBJ's had one ridiculous game, and then he's been mediocre. I think that there's a risk for injuries, and if you have another injury and OBJ's injured, you should have someone in your bench that you could put in.
Well, yeah, you always want to have someone on your bench. You always want to have a backup wide receiver, running back.
Yeah,
always have something. But I don't think people should drop him. Not at all. No, especially if we're talking in terms of, let's say on average, what people have is a 10-person league, right? 8 to 10-person league. You definitely don't want to drop him. You want to have him somewhere on that bench. I mean, he's still OBJ. I know he's not the top tier wide receiver like he was a few years ago, or even just a top wide receiver he was last year. He's mediocre. He's been mediocre this year. He's been inconsistent. He has been getting injured a lot, and I just think overall, I don't want to give up on him just yet. Once we get towards the end of the season, if he's still like this, then sure, you can drop him. But right now, not just yet. But if we're going to talk about that Browns and Bengals game, I have to, even though we were trash talking Baker Mayfield last time, and I do not go against that, I have to give the man some credit because he threw some bombs towards the end of the game. I mean, bombs. He is the reason. He's the reason the Browns won this game. He was screwing up in the beginning of the game, but then he started coming back, especially in that last quarter. He finished with 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. But I also got to give some credit to Joe Burrow. He had a great game. He threw for 400.
100%.
Yeah. He's got a bright future, and he also rushed pretty good.
They almost won. He threw that Hail Mary, and it was almost caught, and it could have been a touchdown.
Yeah,
so close. And I think if it wasn't for that Bengals defense just not being good, then the Bengals would have won.
Yeah, I honestly, I'm rooting for Bengals because I like Joe Burrow.
Yeah,
but I mean, you take a loss, you take a loss, you don't take losses. But also Tyler Boyd had a pretty freaking good game. 11 receptions, 100 receiving yards, and a touchdown. Receiving yards, I can't even speak.
I think overall, though, the Bengals team is just not good.
No.
Right? Joe Burrow could have probably done so much better on a different team. If he was on the Browns, they would have been better. If Baker Mayfield and Joe Burrow would have swapped, they probably would have been in the same position they're in right now. Honestly,
I think they do better. No, I think they do better. I think Joe Burrow is a better quarterback right now than Baker Mayfield.
Yes. Yeah.
'Cause
He already has that veteran type of play style where he knows, even though he can't really close most games, but that's mostly because he doesn't have the options that he's given with like other
yeah,
teams are.
he needs more. He needs more. He needs a better receiver core. He needs a better running back.
I mean, Joe Mixon is good. Giovanni Bernard is
Yeah.
good. Giovanni Bernard's okay. Joe Mixon has just been getting injured a lot. Their wide receiver core is not terrible. AJ Green is terribly inconsistent. T. Higgins is actually not bad. I think he's a bit underrated. And Tyler Boyd is not bad either. It's just really their offensive line and their defense as a whole. That's really the reason. And their coaching, right? They just got to do better. They have to find something that they can build around Joe Burrow and build to his needs, and something that will build a Super Bowl around them.
Yep.
That's the goal.
Joe Burrow's got a future.
Exactly. All right, let's move on to the next topic, which is the Falcons mess. They time and time again. What were your thoughts on this game against the Lions?
Oh my goodness. Oh my.
That's been every Falcons fan.
The Atlanta Falcons. What is up with you? How? That's terrible. Like how? Oh, like I know they lost by 1 point. That's just sad.
They gave up. They had an accidental touchdown. Todd Gurley had an accidental touchdown. How do you do that? I mean, I know it's a touchdown, but they should have waited. He should have stopped at the 1 yard line or something and waited, because there was still a minute left. And obviously, that's enough time for Matthew Stafford, as he was able to get that game-winning drive to.
I think Matthew Stafford is slightly underrated. I think he's a good quarterback.
Yeah, he's a great quarterback.
I think I had him in I think we had him in our top 10 before the season.
Yes, yeah, we did. I don't know if I'd keep him there, but I still think he's been great.
He's doing good this season. For Matthew Stafford, he's doing good. But I wouldn't put him in my top 10, not anymore.
No, I mean, this game really, it was the Falcons defense again. It's literally the only reason they've been losing. It's the only reason they're 1-6 now.
That's sad. I mean, that's sad.
It's sad. We see them get those huge leads against every single team. And what happens every single week? A loss. They had that one win, and then that's it. And this is probably what it's going to be like for the rest of the season. We're just going to see them get good leads. Matt Ryan will do well. Their wide receiver core, Hayden Hurst, Todd Gurley, everyone will do well. And then their defense will suck again and again and again and again. They have to fix that. They have to. Just everything. Pass defense, rushing defense, everything.
They have Julio Jones. They have Matt Ryan. They have Todd Gurley. They have Calvin Ridley. They have Hayden Hurst. They have Russell Gage. They can't get a win. This is sad. This is depressing.
I'm not even blaming it on the offense. I 100% blame it on the defense, right?
Yeah. Their defense is trash. It's so bad.
I don't understand what is going on with that. I mean, looking at their schedule, they could lose every single game. They could lose the remaining of the season. I would not be surprised. I mean, the only game which maybe they can win is the Broncos, but I would not count on that.
Yep.
Right?
It's sad.
I mean, even though the Broncos have been getting a lot of injuries this year, with when Drew Lock got injured, but now he's back, Courtland Sutton, Von Miller, but they got to fix it. It's sad. It's sad because I really like the Falcons team.
Yep. Let's head on from this depressing topic and go to a slightly happier topic. How about the Chiefs defense? Your thoughts? They have been absolutely ridiculous. Like
crazy.
Compared to last year, they were really good.
Oh, yeah. Are you kidding me? They had 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 2 fumbles recovered, 3 sacks.
Let's go.
And let up only 16 points.
Chiefs fans, you're
Wow.
probably looking at a possible back-to-back season. Get hype.
And this win was not because of Patrick Mahomes, which is surprising. He
Yeah.
didn't even have that great of a game.
No, he didn't. He didn't have a good game. He didn't have a good game.
For him, it was fine.
It was
200
fine at
yards.
No, fine at best.
Yeah, 200 yards, 1 touchdown. For him, he could have done so much better.
Yeah.
But it was a great effort all around. We saw the guy, Le'Veon Bell, come out. He had 6 carries, almost 40 yards.
Told you it was going to be good.
Isn't bad at all, but it's obviously nothing going to be compared to Steelers or anything like that.
Well, yeah. But he clearly did better, especially because the offensive line is so much better than the Jets.
Yes.
I told you Le'Veon Bell is going to be a good pickup for them.
He will be, but I still just think it was unnecessary.
Well, think about it. What are the possibilities that Clyde Edwards-Helaire has an injury and they need their backup running back? I guess Le'Veon Bell. I understand. Le'Veon Bell. He's a starting quality.
I understand that, but I just think it just wasn't necessary. Right?
Yeah.
But the Broncos, Melvin Gordon did not do well. Philip Lindsay, even though he got injured, he still did not do well.
The Denver Broncos did not do well as a whole.
No, as a whole, did not do well. And
they were pretty freaking bad.
They just don't have enough. They are a good team when everyone's healthy. Cortland Sutton is a great wide receiver. Von Miller is great. Their defense is not bad when everyone's healthy. They've just gotten very, very unlucky this year. So, I mean, moving forward, they're a team
to look out on. They have Noah Fant, who's a pretty good tight end.
Yes. I mean, looking at the rest of the season, they could maybe get one more win. Looking at it, maybe 2. Nothing too special, though, because they probably will continue to lose and continue this streak of losing. The one thing I do want to point out, however, is your guy Travis Kelce. Where was he today? Where was he?
They didn't need him.
I mean, obviously they didn't need him, but they could have used him.
Well, yeah.
Only 3 receptions? I mean, come on, man.
Oh, what? You think that's his fault? Is he throwing himself the passes, Jacob?
I'm just saying he could have done a lot more because he's a big guy. He's a great catcher, and he could have done it.
Stop hating on the man. I stop hating on him, bro. look at Patrick Mahomes doing only 15 throws.
All I'm going to say is George Kittle's better. That's all I'm going to say. George Kittle can do everything. Everything.
Okay, but in such a situation. Whatever, bro. Whatever.
I mean, do you seriously still think that Travis Kelce is better than George Kittle?
No, but I think that you're severely undervaluing Travis Kelce.
I'm not undervaluing Travis Kelce.
Trash.
I am not undervaluing.
You're talking about him as if George Kittle is miles better. George Kittle isn't miles better.
No, he's just much more talented because he can block, rush, and he can catch the ball. He can do.
All right.
Travis Kelce can only catch, and he's really good at it. He's like probably the best out of all the tight ends.
He is the best. He is the best.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I'd rather have a guy that can do everything instead of a guy that can do one thing.
All right.
It's just like MJ and LeBron.
Okay. You want to go there? All right, let's. I should make the same argument. You know what? I guess Travis Kelce's better because he won. George Kittle didn't win last year.
You know what? That was not George Kittle's fault at all. And you of all people know that, okay? All right, let's get into the Seahawks game. Right now for us, it is a Sunday night, and currently the game is still going on. It's in OT. It's 34-34. This is a crazy game. Absolutely nuts.
I am so glad that we did not end this podcast because I was really hoping that you were going to say, let's check out the game. And I'm so happy because this is such a crazy game. This is ridiculous. Like,
Yeah, I mean, who do you think is going to finish out?
I don't know because it's 4-21. Well, now the Cardinals have the ball, but I have no idea. I feel like, I don't know. I just want to watch the game. I have no perspective on this. I am too excited to give any prediction. Like
Calvin Ridley right now, monster. I'm sorry, not Calvin Ridley. Tyler Lockett. I'm still thinking about the Falcons.
Yeah.
Tyler Lockett, a monster, 3 touchdowns, 175 yards. I mean, he's gotten every single catch that Russell Wilson has thrown to him. He's just been tremendous. The one thing with Russell Wilson is those 2 interceptions. But the Cardinals do have a good defense. They do have a good passing defense.
Yep.
So I will let that one slide. But still, another player that has just not been showing out, DK Metcalf. 1 reception.
It's tough. But also that ridiculous interception, stop the pick 6. That's ridiculous. I think that's the craziest play I've seen. Besides where the guy on the Jets, I don't even remember his name, he caught the football and he caught it on his back. That was pretty crazy. But DK Metcalf was like, whoa.
I saw something that said he was running 22 miles per hour.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. DK Metcalf is a freak of nature.
He was running like Daniel Jones on Thursday. Daniel Jones ran over 22.2 miles per hour, except he fell.
Say that's still a meme. It's going in my head. It's pretty freaking fun.
Yeah, he's severely. I still think he's a bit underrated. The only reason they're doing so bad is the O-line. It's literally it. No, I'm not being biased because I'm a Giants fan. I'm just saying that's really the reason.
He's not underrated. He's undervalued.
Yes,
that's kind of the same thing.
Undervalued. I mean, yeah, but if the Seahawks game for me and the outcome, the problem is, right, the Cardinals have a great offense and the Seahawks have a terrible defense. They have one of the worst defenses in the league right now.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
And now right now the Cardinals have the ball. I wouldn't be surprised if they won right now, but if the Seahawks can somehow get a stop, there's no way of stopping the god Russell Wilson in his MVP race. I mean, nope, not gonna happen.
Nope, not at all. Russell Wilson's ridiculous.
He's absolutely insane, and he is still going to win the MVP.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
I know last year was a bit like Russell Wilson was going to win it, and then after a couple of weeks, Lamar Jackson just started going off. But this is clear. It's week 7 is pretty much over. We're about to go into week 8, and it's clearly showing. But all right, that's all for today, everyone.
Feel free to comment down below what your thoughts were on week 7, and tell us if you noticed the intro in the beginning. Let us know, because I think that you guys are liking my intro better.
No, I think we want to go back to the OG.
Maybe the OG. All right. But thanks, guys.
Tune into the next episode on Friday. See you guys next time.